So, how'd you like our harbor?
You've been in there, he means. Talked to the boss man too, probably.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains. Right, you talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plain. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk. A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open? Oh, say no more. I got you. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say. Oh, so the none of the above type, are you? I get it. I like to keep my distance too. But it doesn't matter. It's a good thing you're doing. Thanks. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the wailing in rags. That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized. Means we keep out of each other's business.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. We talked about life and things that really, truly matter. None of this mess we're in, this jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess. I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are, what we are fighting for.
He means he's not going to tell you cause he doesn't know. But he will shoot his mouth off with you now that you're working for Everard. Who he is and what they're fighting for. This is interesting.
The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course. Your dead guy was an enemy combatant. He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
He's not lying about not doing it himself.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search. We're negotiating our share. Aye. All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process.
This seditious talk sounds like communism. Just so we're on the same page, communism is basically wanting to kill the rich people or deporting them to a labor camp in southeast Grad. But don't say that out loud if you're a communist.
I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer and a decent businessman. I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes deals with the owners or other relevant parties, watches out for his own.
By that, you mean corruption?
By heavens, why would he not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see? And in this world, the old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. Appreciate it even. He is, personally, not too lavish. He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion. Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway, and moralism is the most corrupt of them all.
Not you would like to say. But then there's that weasel door. This man has political theory, and it has not failed him today.
No. I don't think I'm a communist. Seeing something of value and saying I want it all to myself is a much older and simpler notion. No science to it at all. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't. Then how can anything ever be mine? But that's okay. We don't have to agree. The prairie is wide enough for all of us. Sure, I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
The look in his brown eyes conjures up an understanding. For him, having command of his time is the most important thing. It all comes together now. The way he speaks about scabs, his general attitude. He's a follower of a 500-year-old Franco-Nigerian Boyadero code, itself an appropriation of Vespertine cool. That of a noble peasant or a traveling herdsman. True to yourself, independent in your actions, loyal to your friends. The man sits on the railing, his hands reaching far and wide, yet it feels as if he could effortlessly go even wider, if need be, an endless torrent of time. What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate political opinions somewhere in Martinez. It's also about that, but it's also more. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin, but something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience. It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times. Incrementally. History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. The kingdom is difficult to comprehend and even more difficult to describe. Partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The Kingdom of Conscience is post-capitalist, post-national. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual. What you want is immaterial. The Kingdom of Conscience is coming, whether you like it or not.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can...
Hello? Me? No one. I'm just a working class woman.
She doesn't really want to be disturbed that much. If she's such a working class woman, why isn't she working?
This was a tremendously useful interlude.
This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air, and there's a knocker shaped like a lion's head. The leather upholstery is worn and rough against your jaw. You don't hear any movement. In fact, it's oddly silent in the yard around you. No birds chirp. You knock silently. The upholstery muffles the sound. No response comes from the apartment.
I guess no one is in? Let's be honest. This isn't what I joined the RCM for, but every day tells you something new about yourself. Apparently, working with the local union boss to get info on an investigation is not something I'm squeamish about. I mind that the local thug is using the RCM for his busy work. But if this gets us to the bottom of this hanging, then I'm willing to look over it. On the other hand, we could just leave and tell Evrart we opened the door. No one seems to be tailing us to see if we actually did it. Yes, presenting a fabrication is known to get results here and there. You took this task. You make the call.
The door is right here. You can just open it and be done with this. Besides, if you never open it, you're never gonna find out what's behind the door. I don't know. You're a pretty good liar. Are you as good an infiltrator as you are a liar?
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare? Of course, Detective. Excuse me for implying otherwise.
The RCM does not pick sides in this. I hope it doesn't come off any other way.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt verm myself. However, if you felt like discussing something, how could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things.
Oh. That's so helpful of him.
The lieutenant looks at you, and you can swear his jaw muscle is trembling. When I said, be wacky, I didn't mean wildly, grossly irresponsible and damaging to the RCM.
And conventional police officers sometimes lose their guns. They then go around and tell people about this, to gauge their reactions. It's all part of detecting.
Incredible. Simply incredible. And how is it going? Has this detecting produced a gun? Well, maybe he's not as helpful as you thought then. Is there anything else? Weird. Oh no. One of the positive things to come from the revolution is the unhindered exchange of information, you see, even when it comes to trade secrets. Which isn't to suggest our talks constitute corporate espionage. Even if they did, it would be fine. But they don't, since you logged the money as a donation, and this is clearly just gossip between friends.
The lieutenant might have, but I don't remember you logging anything as anything, Harry.
Of course, Detective. Should something come up later down the road, don't be afraid to drop by for a chat. Until then, is there anything I can help you with?
An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. It's unclear whether you actually have muscle memory. Right now, your finger is just drawing vaguely occult patterns in the air. Sure, why not? Muscle.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair. Are you shitting me, Harry? Did you not really open the door and are now just telling me you did? You're a wild one, Harry.
You didn't say it with nearly enough confidence.
Be it far from me to ever question your integrity, Harry, but you must have opened the wrong door. Next time, please be certain you get the right one. You see, Harry, it only benefits me if you open the right door. If you open the wrong door, then it makes things harder for me, because now you're scaring random people in my district. I don't want them to be scared. I want them to think, wow, I feel so safe. I like Everard. I only want weasels to be scared.
The lieutenant shrugs. He means, fuck it, let's open the door then.
See you soon, Debarder. Just kidding, but not too much.
The door to the weasel's den. You try to be as silent as you can. It takes a bit of rattling of the handle to loosen the bolt. Finally, the door unlocks with a small clack. Thoughts race through your head. There might be important information in the apartment. I mean, there might. This is the flag of Revachol, the suzerainty. This isn't just one sun, but there are little suns dancing around the big sun. This is the sevenfold sun miracle. It's an optical atmospheric anomaly the first settlers saw. happens in cold weather. 6 small suns around the big one. This complex halo phenomena is how old Revachol got its flag.
Mm-hmm. The tenant is an old-fashioned guy.
By old-fashioned, he means very right-wing. The flag doesn't seem to mind. It's just a colorful fabric with a sun sewn onto it. Like all feudal flags, it looks like a children's drawing. A row of mugs sits on the shelf. Each one depicts a human figure. A dark-skinned woman grinning amidst mysterious symbols. A broad-shouldered man shoveling potatoes, and others. A little ring. Though cheerful, the images on the ceramic make you vaguely uncomfortable. There's something disdainful in the way the curves and lines of the bodies were drawn. It looks like the artist is celebrating diversity, but underneath, he's just making fun of these people. No one's telling you to like him. You might learn something from him, though. The lieutenant picks up one of the mugs, then puts it back down with a look of disdain.
I'm beginning to feel better about breaking into this man's apartment.
Yes, your broken mug friend would feel very much at home here. The same humor, the same mocking lines.
There's the missing tin soldier. Whoever lives here might have used the Whirling's container to dump his trash. And now they've drawn the ire of the Union. The plot thickens, as they say.
An interesting little clue. Let's see where this goes. Clues have a way of magically connecting to other clues down the road. Perhaps you should break into apartments more often.
Who knows? I'm not expecting too much from this clothes in the trash lead either way. It might turn out to be some random local matter, but still, a nice coincidence.
You could ask Everard who this person is once you're done here.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair. I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
He's trying to figure out if you're lying. There is no way to sway this man in any direction. He is unsuggestible and unswayable. Just tell the truth.
Exactly the kind of fascist memorabilia I was expecting. Weasel probably prays to it every night for the downfall of the Union.
He was testing you, and you succeeded.
Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good. By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps. Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire? I'm talking beasts, hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramoritsa, you name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container. About my fun container? It's a hoot, Harry. Who knows? Maybe you'll be in here the next time they move it. It will be very fun, I promise. But enough about me and my container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them, all hardened commando types. One of them got downright suicidal, getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy, the one who likes hanging out and trees.
By negotiator, you mean Joyce?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill. There's a militant wing inside the Union. A group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly.
That sounds a bit like organized crime.
They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
Again, that sounds like organized crime.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
Aren't you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinez boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them.
He places a lot of faith in that lawyer girl. Perhaps this is a tactical error. Anyway.
Racist mugs in the trash and in the apartment? You guys are just light years ahead of me. I have so much confidence in the ability of your organization. I'm relieved you're doing this and leaving me to do what I do best, helping people, with the power of politics.
Yes, yes. Do you think this weasel is somehow connected to the murder?
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't cross paths like that. All I want is for you to succeed in your investigation. I would never complicate things for you.
Oddly, it seems to be true.
Believe me, Harry, he's a nobody. Just your basement variety nobody. Can't imagine him being connected to a high-caliber case like this. But he does live nearby. Maybe it's a pedantic weasel. Fascists are known to be neat freaks. I feel like a real detective right now, Harry. Am I getting this right? Of course, Harry. I'm not a real police officer. You are.
That's all he's going to say on this subject.
How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry. These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
So you believe the scabs were organized by the security contractor?
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes.
That does sound quite unlikely, yes. The big guy leading the scabs at the gate is colossal.
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal. Oh, they are simply fine young men, all 7 of them. Exemplary union members, always working to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinez and Revachol in mind. Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets. You know what, Harry? I got a feeling they're gonna show up in full force tomorrow.
The lieutenant marks something in his notebook.
Was it a good talk? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinez. And of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you. Yet. Yes, Harry. It's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
A man of the left, so you have to be a social democrat. He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
What does your heart tell you about your lost gun, Harry? Does it tell you to forget about it? Or do you think it wants to be found? I think it's lonely and cold. I think it wants to be found, and I have a proposal for you.
And what would this entail?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
But, he thinks, it's your call.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm gonna hand you the keys to Martinez, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing.
He's saying as little as possible, as vaguely as he can, deliberately omitting things.
I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth centre in Martinez. It will be righteous. We're gonna get those teenagers off drugs and on roller skates. There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry. On the coast, Harry, across the canal. There's a cul-de-sac there, a little village they're calling it. A gloomy place. You'll find it. I trust your detective skills, Harry. They are just gonna have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie.
Is he absolutely sure the tenants won't be thrown out in the street?
Am I? Harry, these people, Martinez is the most important thing in my life. I would never let anything bad happen to them. We're gonna build a youth centre there. The value of their properties goes up and kids have a place to play in. I'm looking out for these people, not pulling the rug from under them, Harry. I'm looking out for all of Martinez, not just the harbour. Perfectly acceptable. No one's gonna force you into anything, but I don't know about that gun of yours. You see, I'm a vengeful man, Harry. Part of how I got where I am is that, well, I can be quite nasty sometimes. But the good news is, the moment you change your mind and want to look into this matter, just tell me, and we'll be buddies again.
The lieutenant's eyes meet yours, and he shrugs. Okay, fine.
Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everard, I call you Harry. My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very low.
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion. I mean, see what his game is first.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
Words flow like a river of honey from his lips. I guess word has already reached him. No matter. No harm done.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity right now.
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first.
Ah, this? My friends in your organization gave it to me, Harry.
This translates into, haha, you guys are so corrupt.
I find that very suspicious. May I have a look?
I'm afraid this is meant for Union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry. Well, Harry, if I were to sum you up in one word, it would be apologetic. Well, you sure come off as very confident in all our interactions, Harry. You're a real man's man. Family? Harry, you're not a family man. There's not one peep of family in here. Unless you think you're a family man, do you strike yourself as a family man, Harry? That's why I like you, Harry. A good man knows both his strengths and his weaknesses, and you, my friend, you are one of the all-time greats. But of course, Harry, your precinct is the 41st and you live in Jamrock. You're a Jamrock boy. A long way from home, but that's okay.
He doesn't really seem to know any more about it.
It's Harry. Harry Dubois. No, I'm really not. You are Harry. Don't be silly, Harry. Harry Dubois, that's a real man's name. A Union man's. Mr. Kitsuragi doesn't seem even slightly empathetic to your memory loss, Harry. I, however, wish to help you any way I can.
As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you because it's not a real RCM folder. It's just another one of those brown folders you saw in the file cabinet.
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau people are absolutely corrupt. You should do something about them.
He got the name from the Census Bureau, and everything else from your actions here in Martinez.
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man, so is there anything else I can do for you, Harry?
That means he doesn't really know anything about you. A pity. The mystery of you will have to remain a mystery for the time being.
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on.
Mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Lariche said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back. Sure, mister. Absolutely.
Right to work!
Looking for something, Hunt? Come to tell me to fuck off again? No.
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up? Nope. Don't smoke. Some of the other drivers do, though. There's still a few around, waiting for the jam to disperse. Or waiting for the sweet release of death.
Yup. Nothing wrong with that statement. Your senses have nothing to add. You'll have to ask around elsewhere.
You could also check the kiosk down the street. Frit. With 3 T's. Rebishaw's weird.
A Stars Ryko, one of the finest Zhimsk-made motor carriages ever. An oldie but a goldie. Not many people outside of Grad, and Revachol West too, it appears.
Estache Ryko KK2. That's a classic model. Never thought I'd see another one repainted after what happened last time.
No, only that the motor carriage is typically baby blue, the colors of Sigismund the Great, an ancient Zhimsk ruler. His banners were famously zephyr and white, the colors of the Stars Ryko.
That's, well, yes, exactly it, more or less. Except it was a crowd of them. Tore him out of the vehicle and ran him over with his own tires. They said it was an honor killing, Hussar style. The Zhimsk community protested the trial, flying the colors. 5,000 came to protest.
Correction, 4,395, the fourth largest public protest of a criminal trial in Revachol.
Is that so, officer? I'll take you at your word. I try to avoid drawing far-gone conclusions like this before actually examining the body, but my initial guess is the two are unrelated. Yes, detective? You sure you're not Zhimsk?
Yes, you're sure you're not. Or if you are, it's only in that Revacholian way, 4 to 5% maximum. A lorry stuck in the traffic jam.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? Yeah, the janitor who gave me the key to his apartment said the guy's a bit of an asshole. Like I said before, I don't know much about this weasel, but the bossman said he's a real piece of work. Thanks for helping out, friend.
This door has been closed with a padlock. No reply.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Just a moment. And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear.
The lady is distressed. Perhaps something more upbeat might cheer her up.
Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there, or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it. To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. But you have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something interesting.
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The water lock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my, what happened to the water lock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
This will surely lead to a cryptozoological mystery with that extremely rare insect. Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research.
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating, but I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Of course, dear. I hope you were able to pawn that old trinket. Oh, thank you, dear. I confess I am glad to see it again. Very honorable of you, officer.
Even the lieutenant seems happy with this turn of events.
Now, what else, sweetie?
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza.
He nods and assumes a waiting posture. Ooh, tough choice there.
What an interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
It's the Col de Mama d'Aqua. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. The Col de Mama is very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track.
Col de Mama d'Aqua can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mama d'Aqua makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it. It could be everywhere all of the time, and we wouldn't know.
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support this theory. It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights. What about what? Of course, dear.
Wow, so someone's been a little boring. The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door.
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten. I advise you not to overstay your welcome.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
Yes, extremely normal. I'm not a gardener, by the way. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her. Could this be the Miss Beaufort that Easy Leo mentioned? The one Mr. Everard sent to law school?
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? Aggressive? You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again. We've talked to Everard Clare. We know who these men are. The Union's militant wing.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out of Martinez.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
What are we going to do to you?
Why did you say that? Did you forget you're a cop? Again?
The Union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress. I suggest not wasting time on trivial pleasantries and focusing on why you are actually here. Titus Hardy.
You caught her off guard. Push her some more.
You are not here to chat up the legal counsel. You are here to question these men.
You set the pace and the topic of these conversations here. Establish that. A man like Easy Leo could have said anything. Do not be restrained, sire.
I represent the Union and these men here. Don't make this personal.
A very minor victory.
What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one.
This is where you say your bit.
Detective.
Oh, this is about him. A real looker, that one.
You're sure taking your time, waiting for him to get ripe and pretty for you, huh?
Oh, he was a real pretty boy by now. Real hot stuff. Letting out that pretty boy smell.
Time to go to work in the shit factory!
Easy, boys. These janitors have a hell of a job cut out for them. I mean, I wouldn't go in there for $1 million.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
These guys are so macho, they're ready to confess to first-degree murder. Ask if it was them. Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Chances are they're going to match. Starting from the right, boot size 44, blonde man, in his 30s, overbearingly masculine. Sitting on his right, standard working boots, size 45 or 46, eldest in the room, probably mid-50s, smoker, quiet. Across at the other table, hobnailed working boots, size 43, gang tattoos, Mesk or Sarah Mauritian, in his late 30s, early 40s. He spent his youth in Villa Labos, a housing project in the Jamrock Quarter. There were incarcerations, hard to say what else. The ink is fading. And then, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 46, the big dick, wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips, rugby cap, fingerless gloves, and numerous scars, a little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum? Size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy, boot size 46, deep marks, probably carried the victim over. He alone is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy. Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella? What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
This person Glenn wants to hire, he really respects her.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
It has to be good, if he won't let you pursue it. Looks like the lieutenant thinks so too.
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. And you're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
There's no point in pushing it further, he thinks. This is already a victory. We'll learn more about this 8th Hardy sooner or later.
The pretty boy. You guys really love talking about that pretty boy.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
You mean these boots? We all got a pair. We wore them the night we took the pretty boy out back and hung him by the neck. Yeah, we did this. Together. All of us. Until he was dead. That's why our prints are all over the scene.
No, you don't. What you have is 7 honest men who thought it forthcoming to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a Hardy Boy without arresting all Hardy Boys. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking think does?
Titus, no one was thinking
That there's any question who's the leader. That's how he would have ended it. Titus won't let him.
No. Fuck no! The big dick is right here, asshole. You're looking at it. Right. Fucking here.
Disregard the outburst, officer. None of the boys have any comments on their power relations. That night, they acted as one. That's all.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious, copper?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
You're pretty sure you've had at least 2 years of cop school and many more of active service. This is where an autopsy would come in handy. You have to work with what you know.
Maybe wrap it up instead?
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town. And he stepped out of line.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade. Right here in our bar.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hire merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara. Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation? He regrets mentioning it. Hopes you didn't notice.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. That was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah. This girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle. Doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
There's something odd here. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation. Make them talk about it.
No, you're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter, and I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah, Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean Joyce Messier, the representative for White Pines? The same company you're striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what? Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Chaise électrique is the method of capital punishment in Revachol under the Coalition. During the suzerain's reign, it used to be the firing squad.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
Rest assured, lawman. None worse than our guy. He got what was coming to him. Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat hiss as he steps closer. Easy. Walk back from the provocation. They're armed, and they outnumber us. The lieutenant tries to establish eye contact with you.
Wise move. You made the right choice there. Now make another one and get the fuck out of our booth. We're not gonna do this again.
Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez, go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder, even if it is a group responsibility. We're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us. Real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating.
Rent-a-cop? So that's what this is about. He doesn't see you as his equals.
Yes?
Was that? Could it be? The Col de Mama d'Aqua? No, it's probably just your imagination ringing in your ear.
Good morning to you, officers. Sure thing. Want some too, officer?
Why not?
A rusting control panel with loose wires dangling out from the hole where an indicator light used to be, and a mechanical lever sitting in the middle. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then, nothing happens. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across the canal. some other way. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning?
Does Kuno care? Kuno.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is... The smell is repulsive. Too late. It's impossible to keep in. Your body curls and pushes it out, burst by burst. Until a pool of vomit lies under your feet and your throat stings from the stomach acid.
Keep it. The hangover is clearly making this worse for you. You could use some ammonia to clear your head. That young woman, the gardener, mentioned she used salts for the smell. If she doesn't have any, there might be some in the fridge store nearby.
Acquiring ammonia will provide a modifier to the white check. Modifiers make checks easier and allow you to retry them.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
She looks up from her magazine, eyes filled with tired ennui.
Yes, what we have is there, in the medicine cabinet. Go take a look yourself.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint-Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo. Their logo is the bloodless rose, pure white, untouched by harm.
Just ask me if you need anything from Saint Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Nosafed, Duramine, Magnesium, and Hypnogamma. Okay, don't, overdo it or something.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to... Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
In the cabin, you see the man ponders his cooking.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see. Sadly, I need this one myself. It's hydrophobic, repels water, almost magically. The company makes them for offshore platform personnel. Very sturdy. What I can do for you is answer some questions. Nothing like talk.
The file cabinet stands steady as ever, and the unlocked drawer slides out to greet you. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, there is a little handwritten note stuck on the side of the drawer. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled.
One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes. Special whirling, all items on the drawer. Control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marsh and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. Marsh. On. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. The harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. Moving this container, of course. For this purpose it was built. For this purpose it has acted. And now it will rest.
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
Is this like your thing with that wall again? You do? Because I don't. There are 1 million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? There may very well be, but we are not here to look for that. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to talk to the Union, right?
No reply. No reply. No reply.
Oh, hey, mister! I'm not gonna bother you with a long greeting, just like we talked about before. I know you're probably a busy man being an important police officer and all, and personally, I think the more people keeping the peace, the better. Oh, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. I almost forgot about the borscht. Oh, yes, I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done. Yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags. Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak what we speak. He's from Grad. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair. My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbour. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them. Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers with you.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it. the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. The mention of mañana gets his attention. He smiles and delivers a whole slew of unfamiliar words and lively gestures. Then he falls silent again. The man says a couple of sentences in that strange language of his and then seems to wait for you to speak. I'm pretty sure he asked you a question. He doesn't know your language. You can just say something cool in return.
Horse need more vodka?
Okay, so it's vodka that keeps the men happy and in good spirits. Clever move by the Union.
Of course, vodka. Now that makes a very, very special borscht indeed. Turn it up and then ask for some yourself. Turning it up seems like a dangerous idea, honestly. The place is a powder keg. He smiles, nodding vigorously, then pours half a bottle of vodka into the pot. With a whistle, he stirs the brew. He smiles and nods enthusiastically and, chattering away in his language, ladles some brew into a small thermal cup, then hands it to you. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for
Hey, mister.
Mr. Dubois, every worker... Hey, why the hell not? Now, how can I help you today? I don't know what that means, Harry, but I love it. I love your initiative. Knowing you're out there keeping things running lets me focus on the big picture stuff. Don't even tell me what was going on. Alcoholic brew? Stronger? Stopped it? Strike? I'm just gonna let you surprise me, Harry. You bring joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. Here. You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the waterlock, but they should fix it by Wednesday morning. Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then we can talk about your gun.
You take the legal documents out of the envelope, a 12 to 40 month construction period, and the zoning plan in the addendum. There is no loophole. The simple truth is the current residents are going to lose their street access, and for the next 12 to 40 months, their lives will be dominated by constant construction noise right next door.
I should have seen it. Evrard probably has eyes on us, but we could try to get other people to sign this instead of those listed. Or you could forge their signatures yourself. By the time he finds out, we'll already be gone. However, we'll need access to the coast before we do anything. Evrard won't believe you got villager signatures if you can't even get to the village. You can try a forgery as soon as we can cross the waterlock.
The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall. It's going to be awfully close to the already existing buildings, almost wall to wall, practically integrating them into the youth center. This is either an ominous or cool architectural choice. Hard to say. My money is on cool. Looks like a cubic pyrite.
Unpromising race pupil returns. I am not the first line of defense. I am the last. In addition, these so-called hardy boys are an effeminate clique of bodybuilders. Their company is spiritually degrading.
You pick up on something artificial in his tone, like he's putting on an act. This is unlike him. He is usually more himself.
Fine. They have recently fallen under the influence of a possibly sexually perverted female vagrant and a narcotics peddler. It's shameful. Find out for yourself. Endomorphic blob.
Interesting.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The ammonia only makes it worse. The combination forces tears out of you. The second time, not so much. When the vomiting is done, your cheeks are wet with tears.
Are you okay, officer?
The weight is reassuring, like a crenel on solid fortification. Pat, pat, pat.
You're facing tough odds here. It's aggravated further by alcohol withdrawal. I've seen captains puke their guts out. It never gets easier. You never get used to the smell. Every Monday is cadaver day. Throw up, investigate. Throw up, initial autopsy. Throw up, bag it. Then drive to the station. Maybe throw up on the way there if you didn't bag the thing tight enough. Monday, make sure you bring a handkerchief. That's probably a good idea. Clear our head. But before we can do that, you need to get your shit together. We should go talk to the locals. Find something else to do while the wind changes. It's pretty bad right now.
You've gained a thought. When this dialogue is over, go to your thought cabinet and internalize it for special bonuses and effects.
Give it half an hour. Get yourself together. Then come back and have another go.
I've got nothing to say to you. What I am not.
You could be Liz. You could be anything. You could even be a model.
Even a mod? Glenn, I went to law school. I am an attorney.
He's right. With a face like that, she could be on the cover of Le Debutante International. The cold look in her eyes speaks louder than words. She is not amused. It's not her. She's not a hardy girl. Definitely.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Can I help you?
mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, the face of King Fleecell smiles at you. For some reason, the smile now strikes you as more forced than it did before. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, Du cristal a la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turn to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. Only 4 issues in, and it sounds like they've already alienated their readership. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Face it, you really aren't interested in foreign affairs. You're not even sure where most of these countries are. You flip back to the front of the magazine. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. Why they decided to title this one section Invalda is beyond you. It evokes a sense of recognition and fellowship among those privileged enough to understand. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speed. You flip back to the front. The door is closed. This door can only be opened with a